What's up, guys? Gun here. Happy NFL Week 1. Man, I'm having a blast. I'm so ready for football to be here Sunday, man. I'm just ready to have all the action up, sweating lineups, watching some football, man. Hopefully winning a bunch of money, man. We have been pumping out videos right here on this YouTube channel. So if you're stumbling across this video on YouTube, be sure to click my name, maybe hit subscribe while you're at it, and check out some of the videos that we have been posting. I put some, I think I put at least 3 picks for each position on Draftkings that I'm digging. I did take a tour of the or all the lobbies a couple weeks ago. There are more contests that I'm liking now. In that video, I talked about some of my favorite contests there, but there are more that I'm liking now. I probably won't make a follow-up video on that, but if you're curious, you can tweet at me. I'll share some of them, several different sites, and of course, I have them listed in my VIP spreadsheet. Today, I want to talk about a couple of tournament plays. Now, obviously, there's so many games on the slate this weekend that there's going to be a lot of sleepers that hit. But this video is going to highlight some of my favorites, maybe 3 or 4 guys. But I don't want you guys to necessarily just lean on the picks themselves, but also lean on the process, because I think that the process in finding guys like this is important, because you can use some of the techniques to find other guys in similar positions and stuff like that. So kind of keep a kind of remember that as you start playing. If you're new to DFS or if you're coming back for football, remember, man, process is just as important. Sometimes your results won't be great, but if the process is fine in the long term, you'll hit. So the process we're going to use today to find some of these picks is going to be curious. Going to be checking out some Vegas totals, and then just kind of like leveraging the field and leveraging or guessing what the field thinks. And then game theory in week 1, a little bit different dynamic than many other weeks this season. Maybe the first couple weeks you can argue, but especially week 1, because some teams that we're going to talk about, new offensive coordinators or new coaching staffs, new personnel, and they have to change philosophy. So while we lean on some stats from last year, some teams with their run-pass ratios being high, low, or just teams playing a certain style of defense or a certain offense, or some players coming back, we're still guessing kind of what a lot of these teams would do. A case in point, I'm going to be talking about the Jaguars in a little bit. I've seen a lot of people or a lot of reports this offseason about Leonard Fournette being in great shape and that they're ready to start using him in a passing game. And that's kind of a dark cloud that's over Fournette. He has caught passes before, but a lot of people just look at him as a running back that's only for FanDuel, right? He doesn't get targets or stuff like that. And people maybe avoid him in PPR. An example of another running back that was like that, Ezekiel Elliott. Last year was great out of the backfield, and if you look at years prior, he wasn't used as much as a pass catcher. If you attacked Elliott early on, you made some money in PPR, right? So I think Elliott's a little bit on a different level than Fournette in terms of that analogy, but you get what I'm saying. Like week 1, we get to get creative in our thoughts and try to guess where the field is at on certain players. So I'm going to talk about 3 guys specifically. I guess 1 guy's technically 2 guys. Before I do that, we'll let you guys know we have a lot of stuff going on this week for RunDFS.com. That is my baby, my site. If you guys want to hang out with me a little bit more, if you like these videos, you want some more, you can go to RunDFS.com, make yourself a quick account. You can upgrade to a premium subscription. We have week passes, 2-week passes, month pass, and a full season pass that will be gone this week. This is the last week to lock in for the full season, Super Bowl Sunday. You don't just get NFL coverage. You're going to get access to all the spreadsheets, baseball, basketball next month, and then, of course, NFL. And then perhaps most importantly, you'll be able to get access to the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. Lots of cool cats in here. We have 24/7 chat for all DFS sports, people grinding NASCAR, golf, WNBA, tennis, soccer. The three sports that I spearhead that I consider myself a quote-unquote expert: baseball, basketball, football. Every day we'll have voice chats when applicable before lock for baseball and NBA. And then for football, this Saturday night, we're going to have the open voice chat, the candle burn, if you will. I invite you guys to come grab a mic, grab some headsets. You don't have to talk, but you can listen in or just use the text chat. Lots of cool stuff in there. We do have as well an NFL spreadsheet that I've already kind of got started with a lot of easy, accessible stuff. I even made a tiers tab here. The Draftkings tiers contest this week looks pretty nice. So we really go at it, and I definitely encourage you guys to, if it's not my community, I definitely encourage you guys to submerge yourself into a good community of fantasy sports players because it makes things much easier. Many hands make light loads. So if you want in, rundfs.com, sign up, grab a week pass, test it out. Hey, DraftKings, week 1. Let's talk about some tournament plays. I'm going to talk about 3 guys. First of all, let's talk about the process to finding some of these guys. Let's go to Fantasy Labs right now, Vegas tab. I love this tab, by the way. Really displays a lot of pertinent information regarding lines, where they open, where they're at now, movement. So what I'm going to do here is, where can we find people that no one's going to be on? I think a good place to start is to go look at extreme underdogs. So we're going to go to the spread and go find teams that are really, really big underdogs. The biggest dog on the slate right now, the Cincinnati Bengals, are on the road at Seattle. I'm not going to harp there too much because I do think Tyler Boyd's going to get some ownership, but I don't think Andy Dalton's going to get some ownership. But because of how the Seahawks play, if we go to the run-pass ratio tab in the rundfs.com spreadsheet, Seahawks 56% run percentage, I'm probably not going to be too ecstatic to take the Bengals here. But if I look on look below that, the Redskins are 9.5-point dogs. Division rival matchup on the road here. I do like somebody from this game. And we'll talk about some game theory here. So first of all, 9.5-point underdogs. They're likely going to be down 2 possessions the second half, a lot of the second half. That's what the spread's kind of implying here. What could that mean for players? Well, it means they're going to pass the ball a lot, right? They're not going to run the ball much, being down double possessions, points, possessions, words. So they're going to throw the ball a lot. And you look at their receiving core, and they got some questions there, quarterback questions. I think somebody we can lean on here is Chris Thompson. Is that a little weird? 3,500 on DraftKings. Obviously, he's not going to have high ownership. These are strictly tournament plays. But Chris Thompson has some big upside if we can get him a lot of targets. And if you can play this game script in your head, similar to the way I'm seeing it, a lot of checkdowns, there is a range of outcomes where Chris Thompson can win a tournament. If you look at the first 2 weeks of last season, 24.8, 22.3 fantasy points. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that went right, a couple things that went wrong. They have had a cluttered backfield, but I think Chris Thompson is a pretty decent stronghold on the pass catching duties for the Redskins. We'll go look at the Redskins depth chart here. Look at their running back core. Adrian Peterson, not too worried about him on a whole lot of catch and shoot second half. And there's Darius Geis and Chris Thompson, so no Rob Kelly or anyone like that. And I think Thompson's in a unique spot here that I could see him at this price point, 3,500, really having an opportunity to go off. And let's say he gets 10 check down targets, man. If you can catch 7, 8 of them, turn that into 50 yards and land it, for a touchdown, that's cool. But Thompson's also a big burst guy, a lot of explosiveness. And I think, him being fully held up, I'm digging it. Again, all these plays are probably going to be under 5%, under 10% owned. These are not the most common range of outcomes, but I do like, or I can certainly foresee a game script where Chris Thompson is utilized out of the backfield a lot in the second half. And if he essentially just becomes a wide receiver one when it comes to targets, I'm in on that. So I like Chris Thompson as my first GPP upside guy, sleeper, low floor, high upside. Next guy I want to talk about, who do we have? John Brown, man. I mentioned Josh Allen in the quarterback video yesterday. I think Allen offers a lot of high floor as a quarterback for DFS contests. Maybe high floor is the wrong one, but he has a floor because of how often he rushes. Gives you a solid floor, 50, 60 yards rushing. But he likes to chuck the ball. Check out this stat from Michael Florio on Twitter. Josh Allen has 20-plus air yards on 18.1% of his throws, by far the most in the NFL. The closest was Patrick Mahomes at 15.2%. I mentioned it on the quarterback video. John Brown posted a 16.3 average targeted air yards and saw 33.83% of the Ravens' total air yards last season. It's a match made in heaven from an advanced metric standpoint. Obviously, the volatility goes way up here because of the uncertainty. It's a new tandem here. It's the Bills and the Jets. But the price is right here, man. I'm looking for low ownership, low price, high upside, right? John Brown fits all of those check marks for me. He's an explosive guy. If you remember him before his stint with the Ravens, I believe he was with the Cardinals. He has the ability to take the top off a defense, get by a corner. The Jets cornerback situation is pretty scary. Tremaine Johnson expected to come back or be back, but he's coming back from a hamstring injury, and then past him, it's scary. So I do think the combo of Josh Allen and John Brown is nice, and I think John Brown at 4,300 could be one of those D-Jack 80-yard touchdown type of guys. Maybe not a high-volume target guy, but I think he's clearly the wide receiver one. I mean, Zay Jones is there, but I really think he's the guy. So John Brown, 4,300. I like him a lot. And lastly, if we're going back to process, it's not really a process, but I think the Jaguars are a funky team to figure out. The Jaguars right now are 3.5-point dogs at home against the Chiefs. The Chiefs, the best offense in football, explosive upside. But I think when people think of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they think of a run-heavy, give the ball to Fournette, up-and-down type of team. And I think there's reason to believe that maybe they're not going to be just that. So, first of all, let's talk about their personnel changes. The Jaguars, moving on from Blake Bortles, they go get Nick Foles, former Super Bowl MVP, has some history with great receivers and a great coaching staff. One of his coaches, matter of fact, his quarterback coach from his time in Philadelphia at that Super Bowl season was John DeFilippo, who was the OC for the Vikings last year. He got fired mid-season from the Vikings. There were reports that said maybe they thought he threw the ball too much, but nonetheless, it's they're reunited, and I think the style of offense that DeFilippo runs matches well for not only Nick Foles because of the history, but I think it really works well for this team because let's face it, Blake Bortles was bad, very inaccurate, pass thrower, threw a lot of picks. I mean, he had the weapons to work with. He just couldn't make it happen. And, maybe that's why Leonard Fournette was leaned on so heavily, is because they just didn't want him to throw the ball. I think this year, DeFilippo could open it up a little bit more. And there's been some quotes out, and I've watched interviews. There's on the Jaguars YouTube channel, there's video of DeFilippo watching Nick Foles tape from the Eagles time. It's really fascinating. If you get some time, check that out. But DeFilippo called D.D. Westbrook the best route runner that he's ever been around. and maybe that's gassing him up a little bit, and maybe it's a little bit of air in there, but he's been around some good receivers, man. Alshon Jeffrey up there in Philly. You can even consider Ertz a route runner in that offense. Of course, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen. So for him to come up and gas up D.D. Westbrook like that, that's big. Nick Foles played one game in the preseason, had 10 pass attempts. 7 of those targets went to D.D. Westbrook. So early on, there is a rapport built there. So when I talk about tournament plays here, I think D.D. Westbrook is maybe not going to be as low owned as you might think, like maybe 10 to 15%. But I'll keep my ear to the ground, kind of see where the field's at. But basically, 4,800 for Westbrook here just might be too cheap. But this is kind of a conglomerate tournament pick here, maybe even a stack you can consider. Because first of all, I like Dede. I love the targets that he was getting in that preseason game. I love the fact that the coach, DeFlippo, has so much confidence in his route running ability. I love the fact that they're facing the league's best offense, so they could be putting their feet on the coal to open up the playbook a little bit, throw the ball, play from behind. That's a plus for receivers. And then, you got a new quarterback to build. So I think we could benefit here from not only D.D. Westbrook, but how about Nick Foles, 5,300? This is an area that at quarterback this week, I think we're going to see a lot of love for like Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, the guys that I mentioned in the videos yesterday. I think there's a lot of value to go fit in Patty Mahomes, Jameis Winston, guys like that. A lot of hype on Kyler Murray, who's at 56. Man, Nick Foles is down here chilling at home. And if we can link up with D.D. Westbrook, handcuff that in a bunch of lineups, I don't mind that combo at all. I'm with it. I think Nick Foles, could we get 300 yards passing for the +3 bonus and a couple touchdowns? I think it's possible. I think we've seen upside in his game log before, 35.94 week 16 last year. Maybe that's the most not the most common range of outcomes here, but man, I definitely think if we're gonna strike these Jaguars early, or we're gonna strike these Jaguars, we want to get there before everyone else does. Wait and see approach for tournaments. That's how you miss out, man. I think Jaguars offense could be a little bit sneaky. On top of that, Leonard Fournette, to throw him in the party, 6,100 on Draftkings. A lot of people stay away from him in PPR, man. I think we're gonna start seeing Leonard Fournette catching passes out of the backfield. I think that will definitely add another dimension to his game. So if he's a guy that can get 18 to 25 carries in a game with 5 or 6 checkdowns, definitely think it opens up a propensity for him to throw 20, 25 plus DKP point game. So I definitely think a lot of people are on the Chiefs. A lot of people are on the Niners and Buccaneers game. A lot of people are on that Cards game. How many people are going crazy with Jaguar stacks here? So I like the Jaguars in general for tournaments. I definitely think D.D. Westbrook's going to have some fantasy sweetheart hype on him this week. I definitely think he's ridiculously underpriced. But those are a couple of names and a couple of ideas, thinking out loud, that I wanted to kind of put in the video and talk about. So just to recap, man, Chris Thompson from the Redskins. I think the Redskins are projected to be playing double-digit point underdogs, or 9.5 point underdogs, double-digit possessions. Great game script for a lot of checkdowns in the second half. He's a catch-and-shoot kind of guy. Give him 8+ opportunities to catch a ball, break a couple tackles. I think he could be big at a ridiculous 3,500. I love that price for his upside. I think the tricky part with $3,500 running backs is to be able to properly spend the rest of that money on high upside guys. I mean, 3,500, that'll unlock the door for some some high, Patrick Mahomes, Julio Jones, guys like that, if you're really digging them. Then of course John Brown, loving that combo with Josh Allen. And then the Jaguars, man, they got a couple of pieces here. I'm most in love with D.D. Westbrook because I don't think that price can let me down. I think he might be one of my cash receivers. Him and Cooper Kupp are kind of warming up for me for some high floor cash plays. So, but I think D.D. Westbrook also obviously has much higher upside than Cooper Kupp, generally speaking. So those are some guys I'm liking. Man, I want to hear about guys you like for tournaments. If you like these kind of concept videos, let me know. Like I said, questions, comments, concerns in the comments below. I'll try and recap any game theory or player questions in a video on Friday if we have any. I don't really have a lot right now. If you have anything else for me, twitter.com/GundackerSports, man. Love to link up with you. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. Hit that thumbs up for me, would you? Love you guys. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.